Get some auth going so no one can just walk in and start making users. We need to be able to log in before we can create that stuff. And then further on in this course, we're going to get fine grained into role control over who should be able to do what. So let's open up keystone.ts, and we've got this. This is our Keystone server config right here. What we're going to do is we're going to create a method called with auth that has some settings in it, and that's going to layer in the secret sauce that is the ability to have auth in Keystone. So we'll make that now. We'll say const and curly brackets, say with auth is equal to, and we're going to use a method called create auth. Create auth. Boom. Did that auto import it? Oh, it did. All right. So here we go. It imported create auth from keystone/auth. That's awesome. And inside of there, it takes a settings object. So first, a couple things. We have to say list key is going to be a user. Why? Because it needs to know which schema is going to be responsible for being the user, right? Like it could be customer, it could be obviously user. In our case, it could be person, it could be company. In our case, it's user that logs in. And then we got to tell it the identity field, which field in user is going to identify the person. In our case, it's going to be email. Like what do they log in with? Is it going to be their username, their email? Pretty much just one of two of those. The secret field, which that's going to be our password. That's the field that it's going to ask for when they type it in. Then next up, we want to say init first item. So this is always kind of a chicken and egg thing where you get in is you turn on auth, but if you set it up and there's no users, then how do you auth? And what a lot of places do is you turn off auth for a quick second, create a user, and then turn it back on again. But Keystone has a really nice thing called init first item, which is an object. And inside of that, we say fields. Which fields do we want to allow them to init with? We have the name, the field, the email field, and the password field. And then finally, we should say to do add in initial roles here, just because when we do add roles, we should give this person every single role because they are going to be the administrator. So I believe that's what we need. Now we have this method here called with auth. What we're going to do is we're going to wrap this config here in with auth. So that, and then we'll have to go all the way to the bottom here and add another parenthesis. Okay. Next, we need to set up a session because like when somebody logs in, it will set a cookie and that gives them a session that they're logged in until they log out, or the cookie expires, which we have set earlier. So we got to go down here where we have to do add a session here. We will add our session argument here, and that will be with item, capital I, item data. And inside of that, we have stateless sessions, capital S, and you pass it our session config that we did earlier. Remember up here where we have the max age and the secret. And then the second argument to with item data is going to be an object where we ask for the user ID every single time. And the reason why we do this is that we are going to get into permissions in a future video. So we're just setting ourselves up for that. Essentially what this will do is it will pass the ID and any other data we query along with every single session. And then anytime we want to access a session, we have access to the user's name, email, ID, etc. All right, we got some problems here. With item data can't be imported, no suggestions. And stateless sessions can't be imported either. Just copy both of those. We'll go to the top here and let's import both of those. With item data and stateless sessions. And that comes from at keystone-next or just at keystone.js. And the package is called Keystone. And then it's further inside of session. All right, so now we've got with item data and stateless sessions. The last thing is, remember this, is allowed access. We are currently allowing it true for whoever. And if we left this as true, it would still allow anybody to come in. So what we want to do is show the UI only for people who pass this test. And you could do any logic you want in here if they're admin or whatever. In our case, we just want to make sure that they have a session and they are logged in. So what we'll do here is it will actually pass us the session of the user. And let's just console log it so we see what's going on here. Console.log session. And then we will return if there is session.data, and then we'll put a question mark on there. And what that will do is if there is a session and there is a session.data, then it will return true. They're logged in. Otherwise, they are not logged in, and it will show them that. So let's restart npm run dev. Got a bit of an error here. Session config. Oh, look at that. That should be a comma. And it's telling us unsafe return of any type. We need to turn that into a Boolean. And the best way to coerce that into a Boolean is put 2 bangs on the front. It's also telling us unsafe member access data on any value. And that's fine for now. We'll fix that in the future. Let's just get this sucker running and make sure that it asks us to log in. Refresh this sucker. Boom, there we go. So this is that initial sign up. Welcome to Keystone. Create the first user. So wesboss, it's boss@gmail.com. And I'm going to set my password to be Wes. Don't log into my online bank with this. Get started. Boom. Created it. And look at this. Remember we console logged the session right here? This is what a session looks like. It tells us the list key, the item ID, and then it gives us the data that we've required. This is actually a GraphQL query. We are going to be adding stuff here in the future, but even if we were to add the name and email in there and restarted that sucker, you'll see, look, every single time there's a request, the data about the user is passed along. And that can be really helpful for writing what is called middleware. If you want to allow somebody to do something, or you want to check if somebody has a certain role, or you want to see if they're signed in, then you can always check their session and information about that user. And that's great because you don't have to explicitly go out and query the data every single time. It just comes along with every single request. We did that in my Node course as well, and I really like that. All right, good. So now we have our sessions done. Let's get rid of that console. I'll leave that in just so in case you want to take a look at it yourself. I find console logging is helpful. We've got our users. Now let's start getting going with the rest of the data types.